Welcome to Tight Corner on ghanastream. This is a show where we discuss issues of importance to each and every Ghanaian. We look at the politics, the economy, social matters, and many issues affecting each and every Ghanaian each day. Tonight here with me, I have two great gentlemen from the National Democratic Congress of the Okankwe Central Constituency and the New Patriotic Party of Okankwe Central Constituency. They are going to help me discuss the issues that are making headlines today. We are going to look at the PDS deal, where we have come from, how far we have gone. Finally, we'll take a touch on what the National Security Minister has to say with regards to the training of MPP tax at the Asociari training camp. I'll be right back to begin the discussion. Thank you very much. Gentlemen, you are welcome to the show, Tight Corner.
Thank you very much, my brother.
You're welcome. I'll give each and every one of you just some few seconds to introduce yourself and the name that you'd want to appear on the show. So let me start from you.
Thank you very much. My name is Jesse Emmanuel Behene, but you can call me Odoima,
Right.
repping the New Patriotic Party. Thank you.
That's great. You are welcome.
I'm Razbingi from the Great Akatamanso National Democratic Congress, NDC, of Okankwe Central.
Right. Viewers, as you rightly heard from them, we have the MPP and the NDC well represented. We'll just delve straight into our first discussion. Now, let me start with you, Mr. Emmanuel, right?
Yeah.
Mr. Emmanuel, with the PDS deal, we've heard from the government, and then you being in power. Are we on the straight path? Are we on the right path?
Well, thank you very much, and I would want to say a very good evening to our cherished viewers, and also to His Excellency the President of the Republic of Ghana. He's not in the country currently, but then
Right.
I want to greet him wherever he is, and also to our indefatigable Member of Parliament,
Right.
Honorable Patrick Yabwama. I'm sure that my NDC brother here would attest to the fact that he's working perfectly.
Sure.
Yeah, so
Are we on the straight path with regards to PDS? Government suspended the agreement some time back in July, and then currently the deal has been aborted. So why are we here?
thank you very much. But before I answer your question, I would want us to go back a little from where it started.
Right.
You would recall that in 2019 this year, somewhere in July, the concession agreement was suspended.
Right.
Yes, something that the government says that the PDS failed to provide some demand guarantees. You understand? So after that, the government then intended to have some what we call maybe investigations into that matter.
Sure.
You understand? And you'd also recall that a delegation was then sent to Qatari.
That's
and then
true.
the United States
Of America.
as part of the investigations. You understand? But then after the back and forth of it, the government has then decided to suspend the deal, of which I agree with the government, because the NDC has made a lot of allegations.
Absolutely, I wouldn't want us to start on that time. Exactly, I would like you to speak on the issues.
On the issues.
Why
Okay,
is
no
it that
problem.
the deal has been cancelled?
Yes,
What
but
is the government doing to ensure? Because this is Ghana that we are talking about. This is our energy sector.
Yes.
And then if we begin to have the discussion as a political party, I'm sure you have your own policy with regards to how the power sector should be run. So exactly tell us why we are here, and then what is the government doing? Because I've heard that you are going to, by 31st December, you should get another concessionaire.
Yes.
So how is that going to be effective in delivering power to each and every one of us?
You know, the President, His Excellency Akufo-Addo,
Sure.
Remains focused, and he's rest assured that our electricity and the energy sector, everything is on point. You understand?
Right.
Yeah. So I would want to go back. I still want to go back a little.
Right,
You
that- you have
understand?
the- you
But
have
then
the
you
floor.
wouldn't allow me to go.
Oh, you can go on that tangent. However, you see,
they had a press conference yesterday,
That's
and then you can't take that out of the issues going on
okay.
right now.
So you
understand?
want to address those issues?
Those issues, yes.
Kindly go ahead. You
Thank
have
you
the
very
platform.
much. Somewhere July, when the issues came up, when the issues started, you know, the NDC held a press conference, and then they were accusing the president of involving his cronies, family and friends in a deal. You understand? But then now that the deal has been cancelled, what do they say about it? What are they going to say about it? But then I would want my brother to tackle that issue when he gets the chance to.
Sure, he would.
Yes, you understand. Yes, and then yesterday during their press conference, he also said that PDS is one of the biggest corrupt scandals. And after hearing that, I was very like, it was laughable to me. It came as a surprise. It came as a surprise to me. Yes, because remember those times we had Jida and all those corrupt scandals, from Jida to Wyoming to bus branding and to all of that, you understand?
Yeah,
but then they still have the guts to even talk about corruption.
I do get you a lot, but you see, ECG, that is before coming into PDS, they said ECG is worth $3 billion.
Yeah.
And then why do you think a government over the day will be fighting to get $500 million to inject into its power generation? Because that is exactly what we are doing. So I would want us to tackle the issues. Because if we are worth $3 billion, can't we still remain with our worth and then still generate some more money, as the government rightly is doing? What do you think about this compact agreement? What is it?
With a compact agreement, remember somewhere in 2008, His Excellency Kufuor, the Ghanaian government entered into an agreement with the US for the compact one, which involved the roads.
We had the N1 out of it. Yeah. But this is the compact 2. And then it started somewhere around before you came into office.
Yeah, somewhere 2014.
Yes. So exactly, I want you to tell us what has changed with regards to you taking over power. And what you are going to do exactly.
You know, when we came, the NDC had already cooked the thing. You understand?
But cooked the thing.
Yes.
Cooked.
Yeah.
So exactly what do you mean by when you
they started with a deal, and they had that 20% local and then 80% foreign. You understand? Yes. But then when we came, we decided to change the whole deal. You understand? And make sure that the Ghanaian, our people, have majority shares. That's how come the consortium was formed. You understand? And 51% in local shares were given to the local companies, including TG Energy Solution with 18%, Santa Baron Ventures with 13%, GTS Engineering Service Limited with 10%, TBK with 10%. You understand? And then the foreign partners on the other hand,
that is
Miracle with 30%. And then
is it 30%?
Yes, 30%.
Because you said it's 51% local. 49, yes, sure.
Yeah, so 30%, Miracle was having 30%, and then one Angolan company,
Energy.
Yes.
SCI Energy or something like that, yeah.
Right.
Had 19%, you understand? So we changed everything, and then we wanted our people to we didn't want to give it out like what the NDC did, you know.
Okay.
Yeah, so
that was the whole idea.
Yes.
Okay, thank you, Mr. Emmanuel. Mr. You've introduced yourself
as
Rasbingi. Yes. Yeah. And let me start with this question. Why would your government then in power sign an agreement that is going to give us $500 million at a point where we have a company that is worth $3 billion?
My brother, you see, I'll come to your question.
Right.
But you could see my brother was struggling so much to answer very simple questions.
Right. I just asked you a question. I'll be glad.
Do you know why? You know, MIDA and Ghana government during the ex-president Kufuor's time. But before that, I would like to greet the incoming president, His Excellency John Dramani Mahama.
Sure.
Inshallah, by 2021, he will be sworn in as the president of the Republic of Ghana. And I would also like to take this opportunity to greet my incoming MP, Honorable Rashid Issa. You see, when you watch the poor conditions and states of the Okaikwe Central Constituency, nobody tells you Honorable Rashid Issa is here to what? To save the people. It's not about giving rice, maize during elections. It's about policies, alternatives. That will energize the youth, bring development to the constituency. We have a constituency to build, not stomachs to build.
Yes.
Then I'll also take this opportunity to greet my constituency chairman, That is Honorable Ava, Chairman Ava.
Okay.
Before I come there, this was the Compact 2.
Yes.
So remember the NDC under the able, competent, and innovative leader.
That's interesting.
His Excellency, incoming President John Dramani Mahama.
But why does he keep on saying
No, do you have a problem with that?
Gentlemen, I would like.
You shouldn't have a
Mr.
problem.
Emmanuel, I would be happy.
Please, you shouldn't have a problem with that.
Mr. Aras, your time is struggling, so I'll be glad if you can just.
He interjected because I left him flow, but he's interjecting me, so you have to check that time.
Sure.
You will see that the compact was to strengthen the flow of energy in Ghana. So
exactly what do you mean by flow of energy?
You see, when you check, especially mobilization of funds by ECG, has always been a problem.
Okay.
So the compact in which our government was going was somehow centered there. When this government came into power, we had reached somewhere. It had gotten to a time where tender had been done. It was leveled to a selection of the agencies or the companies to take charge of ECG, take charge of the assets of ECG. And before you take charge of the assets of ECG, you have to invest $500 million. This government overlooked the process and brought in PDS.
Really?
You see, PDS is a consortium.
Right. Because
where they said they want the percentage of Ghanaian companies to be more than that of what?
The foreigners.
Yes. That was where the trailer in Manila came in. Family and friends and associates.
So exactly where is the family and friends within this deal? I want you to point out exactly where it is.
You see, when you check, MIDA was to supervise this whole deal.
That's true.
Do you remember the CEO of MIDA was changed?
Yeah.
He was changed for somebody different to be in.
Right.
Because that person was there to what? To facilitate the smooth state capture of ECG. Let's just put that one aside and come.
But let's take note of this. ECG is still in action, but ECG will allow PDS.
I'm coming. The letter that came said PDS had been suspended and operations given back to ECG. So when you suspend an institution, how does it work? My brother,
set aside.
When you are suspended, you can't be in motion to work. So you don't tell me PDS has been suspended for ECG to take back operations and we still buy our credit and see PDS on it. You see, this is a how do I put it? It's a small screen.
Yeah, but
I'm coming out. Allow me make my points clear. And in the contract,
right,
those who were taking over the assets worth over 3 billion Ghana cedis were supposed to what? Provide guarantees.
That's true.
And aside providing guarantees, also inject some monies into ECG. My brother, as I tell you, the guarantees that were even procured through Car Bank and Alkut was found to be what? To be fraudulent. I'm not saying it. It's the energy minister, Honorable Peter Amewu, who said it. When investigations were being done, Alkut said it. It was clear. It was very what? Clear that this thing that they brought was what? Was a fraudulent one. Aside that, do you know what happened? They took guarantees from Car Bank, collected our revenue, that's our bills that we paid, and used it what? As deposit for the guarantees. So virtually, they brought nothing to the table. but rather
who brought nothing to the table?
PDS. No, you see,
the entire PDS. Is it the
PDS? Are you listening? PDS was supposed to what? Provide bank guarantees before even take off. But now we were told they can take over the assets of ECG before bringing their guarantees.
Well, for the purpose of education, you see, we had an entrenched part of the deal that stated that we have a condition precedent.
Yeah.
And then this
precedent was changed
now,
to condition subsequent.
Under your government, we had 6 companies that came in, and then the companies through their financial capacity and then the technical know-how were divided into tier 1, tier 2, and tier 3. So after the government took over, there was a change in government. We then had a government saying that we need 51% of the ownership to be.
You see,
within.
That is, my brother. That is. You see, yes. That is where the state capture agenda started from.
I'll be glad if you allow me to end over there. So when the government changed, it was not wrong to say that, oh, let us give 51% to our own local folks. It's at least it's like saying that, oh, we believe in the capacity that we have. So we
which is just a small. You see,
yes,
my brother.
We had 2 companies.
I'm coming. You see, not that they believed in strengthening local companies, but it was what? It was a small screen to take over, to capture state asset.
Right.
Because you see, if they say they believe and want Ghanaian-owned industries or businesses to thrive, certain banks would have not been collapsed.
Right. I do understand.
You see, so what I'm telling you here is, in the contract, they were supposed to what? Bring the guarantees. That was in the first one. But when these people came, they said, no, you can take over the assets and later bring that was where the fraudulent actions came in.
Yes, right.
And you see, I'm not quoting anybody. I'm quoting the current energy minister under this administration. He said the guarantees they brought were what? Fraudulently acquired.
Yes, Ras, I do understand you, but I'll be glad if you allow me to end. So after this condition was changed to 5149, we then had the tier 1, tier 2 companies dropping out.
Yeah.
So therefore, we had only Miracle.
Not just they dropped out, they were forced to drop out.
You allow me to end here. Whether they were forced to drop out, they dropped out. So we had Miracle and then BXC. And then BXC was disqualified based on they were unable to add as part of their profile that they once worked for ECG. So now we had one company left. And then this is a deal, this is a concession that we need to go and then take an amount of money from the Compact 2.
Yeah.
So if government had said, oh, you take over the assets and then later on once you provide the guarantees, is there anything wrong with that?
My brother, there's everything wrong.
So
a company, I'm coming
within a minute.
I'm coming. Oh no, you allowed him so much and he interjected and you are still taking my time.
Please go ahead.
Are you listening?
Yes, I am.
Why did they say you can take over and later show us your financial strength? Because there was an agenda, and the agenda is the company or the people involved who were taking over didn't have the amount to be injected. Let's not confuse ourselves. This is the worst scandal ever to happen to Ghana.
All right.
This is a state asset which was being taken over by a very few people.
Right.
Who are connected to what? To the powers that may are in authority.
Right. Sure. So Raz,
yes.
Kindly, just a minute, just wrap up, and then let me come to me.
So you see, in wrapping up, what was the agenda, or what was the reason for them saying, oh, you can take over the assets, over 3 billion assets of ECG before showing us your financial strength? That means there was an agenda. If there was no agenda, and you know that the people or the agencies involved have this financial capability, you let them show it.
Okay, right.
You don't give it to them for them to later show it. And even, do you know that the monies that they pay to Car Bank for the guarantees at the end of the day could not be found?
Right. I do get you.
And as I'm talking to you today, I learned the deputy minister said it on an interview that let me read from one of your
if you are going to read, I mean, you'll be taking.
No, I'm just reading, just a few this thing. Let me. That's a deputy minister of this thing.
Yeah, I heard exactly what he said, that this is just an intent to clear the deal. However,
no, he said it has not been cancelled.
Yeah, it's an intent. A letter of intent means they have the letter to cancel it. However, it needs to go through parliamentary proceedings as is.
When PDS and co were what did it go to parliament?
Yeah, it did went.
When?
It was through parliamentary approval.
When?
It was through parliamentary approval. I can't tell you exactly when.
Then you don't say it.
You can Google.
Right. It's okay. Thank you so much, gentlemen.
Yeah.
Let me come back to you. The government is saying it's going to use restrictive tender.
Yeah.
In ensuring that we get a new concessionaire. The government is still wants to go ahead with the privatizing. They want to engage private partners.
Yeah.
But how do you see the next line of action of the government through the restrictive tender? Is it good for this nation?
Restrictive tendering.
Yes.
Is it a crime?
Nobody is saying it's a crime. Exactly what are you going to do? You see,
no.
For the purpose of this our discussion, we are trying to give our viewers the best form of analysis that we can get. You see, our viewers sitting out over there, this is a state company, and then you, these political parties, you own it for some time. You get it? So if a Ghanaian, not say NDC or NPP, asks a question, do you think that a restrictive tender is good for us? Because I could see
but
mostly from the energy sector expert, most of them are complaining that this restrictive tender is going to create a lot of problems for us. So
problems like?
Some of the problems that they are raising is that, you see, with restrictive tender, we are having the government selecting some group of companies to own it. So that is where people could even come out with the issue of cronyism, nepotism, and then all the issues of bad governance. But why not we go in the open international tender?
The people who are going to complain of cronyism and all the things you are talking about, why don't they also, as it were, form their own companies that if they have the requisite or maybe the competence to manage such sector, why don't they form their own company, or maybe if they have any, come on board? Why don't they do that, and then they sit behind and all they can do is to say that cast aspersions and say that the government is going to deal in family and friends and cronies.
Right. What? So Emmanuel, are you saying that anybody who complains about this deal should be able to form a company and come on board?
No, I haven't said that. But then they have to show us, like they need to prove to us that maybe something has indeed gone wrong. You understand?
Because you see, with this is the compact 2. I want each and every earlier to understand. Yeah. And then it was an international open bid.
Yeah, international competitive.
And we had 6 companies.
Exactly.
Now we are going to restrict tender.
Yeah.
How is it going to have effect on the power sector of Ghana? Do you think we are on the right path?
Of course.
Are you sure it's not because of political affiliation?
No.
So exactly what makes it the right channel?
Well, even when we started with the initial one, with the international competitive bidding, you and I would attest to the fact to how bad things have gone. You understand?
You see, for the purpose of our education, this international bid started somewhere, I think, 2014.
Exactly.
Yes. So with this bid, we had 6 companies, and then we had a group that I think MIDA was able to divide the companies into 3. That is tier 1, tier 2, tier 3.
Exactly.
We had 6 companies. That is 80-20 local content. Right after you took over, you changed it to 51-49, and then 4 of the companies just left. And then you see some of the companies, the reason why they are leaving, the reason why is that, are we not supposed to fear as Ghanaians that a company is telling you it is leaving the country because of political reasons? Are we not supposed to fear?
Did they give anything like they are leaving because of political
reasons? Yes,
they
did. Some of the companies did give reasons that this is political reasons. That is why they are leaving. The political climate is not good for them. You have the 4 companies. That is what they were saying. That is the message they were sending to.
I never heard of it.
You can find out. I'll be glad if you could do that.
I will.
So, are we not supposed to fear?
For me, all I would say is that we are on the right path, and then the government, His Excellency, knows what's good for Ghana. You understand? So this is their decision, and
to go the restrictive tender.
Exactly. So and besides, it's not a bad thing. You understand? So if this is what we've agreed on going, I mean, if this is the tangent we agree on going, and if it's going to help us, then why not? We should just.
I do get that, but I want you to make exactly the point. What makes it relevant to go the restrictive tender? Because why are you in a haste? Some people will make question. Why are you in a haste to get a new concessionaire?
But obviously, there has to be a concessionaire. So
Yes, but you see, even with PDS, it took us from 2014. That is close to 4 or 5 years, 3 years before we settled on.
Have you forgotten
PDS?
so?
I do, but this has got nothing to do with them. So
No,
let
but
us
then-
tackle the issues.
Yes,
Let us tackle this contract.
I get you,
This
but
is an
then-
agreement that it's not MPB that has signed an agreement with MEDA
get
or
you.
MCC.
I get you.
This is Ghana signing an agreement
I get you.
with the United States government, putting a company that is worth $3 billion on the line, allowing another company to take over with an amount of $500 million. Can't we generate that ourselves? Don't we have the technical know-how? Because from the example of Trinidad and Tobago, they've done that before. So exactly what is the government
You know,
doing? Why are we in a haste?
To bring
A
a
new
private,
concessionaire, yes.
as in bringing a private.
The new concessionaire, yeah, it's a private and
Okay.
government. So,
You know the Ghanaian attitude, right?
mhm.
Yes, attending to Ghanaian own, I mean the state-owned, for want of a better word.
Right.
Can you please help me?
Yes, I
Uh,
unfortunately I can't.
You can't.
But I'll be glad. I'll be back to you. Rasmin, please kindly wrap up just in a 2 minutes for me. Your government is speaking against the
My brother, you know
party.
something.
Sorry.
He talked about doom. So let me just, this is politics. So sometimes you don't leave some no, get my point. This is politics. Sometimes you don't leave some things to go. This very government has done nothing, absolutely nothing.
But Ras,
I'm coming.
Somebody
I'm coming.
might question you. What
I'm coming.
exactly would-
I'm coming. He brought Dumso to it. He asked you, have you forgotten Dumso?
No,
So,
because sorry.
are you listening to me, my brother? This very government did nothing. Before they came to power, Dumso had been stopped. Look at the investments that incoming President John Dramani Mahama did to stop Dumso.
Yeah, Ras, let's get back.
So no,
Let's get back.
let's you see.
That's why I didn't allow him to go
Sometimes
into the doom.
sometimes.
So exactly what
I
would you
wonder-
have done different from what is
At least-
happening now?
Do you know something?
Yes.
Sometimes I wonder how the MPPC Ghanaians to be. One very thing they campaigned and complained most about NDC was that contracts were being sole sourced.
Oh, okay.
This restrictive tender is same as sole sourcing.
How is it going? How is it like that?
You see, don't forget how the PPA boss went about his things. Some of these things. You see, when you are restricting tender, that is where corruption is bred.
Right.
As you said, cronyism is bred. Nepotism is bred. Today, I read a tweet from one journalist of one of your sister stations. And she said, they can even go ahead and do whatever they want because it isn't as if they are now going to bring in a replacement to PDS. They already had the replacement there. See, my brother, do you know something? You will be shocked to know the people who are behind the agency or the corporation that government is going to what? Give.
Ras, but
ECG
just this evening, the MCC is saying that Ghana needs to bring back PDS or they will lose an amount of $190 million. What is your response to that?
You see, for me, I wouldn't agree to that because certain things that PDS have done have shown that they were not truthful to the good people of Ghana. But you know something? I don't blame PDS. I blame the finance minister and the president.
Yes, but Ras, if you say so,
Because do you know why? Do you know why I'm saying that? I'm saying that because this deal mostly was what? Done by the finance minister.
Yes, I do understand. But when PDS came in, it has reduced our loopholes. That is the funds. It was able to generate enough funds.
My brother.
And then the loopholes is now just 23%.
My brother. It's not about the loopholes that or the revenue that they've been able to generate.
Mm-hmm. So what do we want from PDS then?
The issue I'm raising out here is, how did PDS acquire the ECG concession?
But we've already said that.
So, my brother, so it tells you, no matter the output of the company, they engage in fraudulent what? Means. So, it tells you that no matter what they do for us, their mode of what? Getting hold of the concession was by fraudulent means. Okay. And so, therefore, whatever monies that have been accrued to them should be taken out. And we want to see prosecutions, because the energy minister said they acquired the concession fraudulently, and now government has come out to cancel the deal. Why? Because whatever document that even today I even saw this thing that they said the government, you see, the whole thing doesn't make up. Now other government agencies are also what? Blaming government for the woes of PDS.
Right.
So my brother, the thing is the restrictive tender that is going to be done. As I tell you, they already have their cronies who has formed their agencies and ready to take over.
Ras, let's wait until that is done.
No, my brother, you see, let me tell you something. No, let me tell you something. Do you know? No, relax. This is not an allegation.
This is not an allegation.
Let me tell you, my brother, are you listening to me?
For the purpose
of say so you see what happened in the PDS miracle and other stuff debacle shows why is government going on restrictive tender. You see,
the government gave a clear reason. The finance minister in his statement said that they need a partnership as quickly as possible. So the best way the best.
How quick? No, you see, when you say what makes getting a replacement for PDS so urgent that you can't open tender for other companies with the muscles to fight for?
You know, we are under an agreement with the United States government. So at this point, I'll be glad if you allow a few. At this point in time, the government has just cancelled the deal. That is, today we are still in October. Yeah. We just have November and December. So in order to ensure that by 2020 we have a private partnership, the best I could see, the only alternative now is either to restrict the tender.
Who is to be blamed for this?
Ghana is to be blamed.
Ghana is not to be blamed.
And then the two of you.
No, Ghana is not to be blamed. The people who had the state capture agenda must be blamed. The Ghanaian must not suffer for the doings of a few people. Right. Who see, Honorable Kennedy Japan even said it, that when he saw the deal, went through the deal, he was sad because the people involved, when you see where they've come up in life, how genuine they've been, and I'm not the one saying it too. Honorable Kennedy Japan, who is a sitting member of parliament for Asin, and also what? I think he's the head of communication at the parliamentary, something like that.
Yeah, he's the head of communication committee.
And I think he's even the NCA board chair. That one.
Confirm.
You see, he said it. That
on which platform did he say that?
On his own radio station, on my FM. It's there.
When did he say it?
So Ras,
it's there.
Let's.
I'll get it for you. I'll get it for you. So my brother, you see, all that we are saying is, if government thinks they are doing nothing wrong, they should open up. Let agencies with the muscles, with the financial capabilities, agencies that can raise enough capital to inject into ECG. Right. Not agencies that are coming to take the monies of ECG to invest on themselves.
Right. Well, thank you so much, gentlemen. So I'll quickly go for a short break. I'll be right back soon, and then we just go into our next topic for discussion.